Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County. Powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center. With the man who's, well, he's not screaming today, he's just streaming today. It's John Gutierrez screaming to the world, everybody that he knows here.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in again to our community podcast show, powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Senior Vice President here, John Gutierrez. We're excited to bring to you another great show again. We have another special guest, Mr. Michael Lara, who's a 10-year member of our chamber. He's going to be our Estrella Award winner, one of our many winners, this April 22nd, which, by the way, we are officially sold out, which is amazing. Thanks to Michael Lara here. Everybody wants to come see Michael. And let's just briefly go into who Michael Lara is. He's a compassionate operational leader. He's also proud alumni of OC Youth Chamber of Commerce, which is, of course, our youth chamber, an amazing part of our chamber organization. And, of course, he's also part of the UC Irvine alumni. He's currently an Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce ambassador. And he's also a Big Brothers and Big Sisters grant administrator. Welcome, Mr. Michael Lara.
Thank you so much for having me.
All these titles, this is, it goes to show everything you're doing in the community, Michael.
Exactly. I care so much for the community.
Well, let me ask you a couple of things, because we're going to go into, obviously, the Estrella Awards. We're going to go into how involved you've been with the chamber. But most importantly, what I wanted to ask you is, tell us a little bit about, how you got to this point, because we know you're just full of energy. You got a great personality, but tell us a little bit about you and your familia, and, how are you this just amazing young person who's always volunteering, helping out the community?
First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for having me. I would like to say I represent every single individual that I, come in life with, including my mentors, and first and foremost, my family. Family is very important, so I have a great family foundation that has, my biggest supporters in my life. And so to get here now, it's my family that has given me the support. And I do look up to my mom and dad. That's, I'm grateful that they're still here with us.
Shout out to mom and dad.
Yeah, shout out to mom and dad.
If they see this video, right, we want to shout out to your mom and dad. Where are they from? Do you mind if we ask that?
Sure. They were born in Mexico. They were in the areas of Veracruz. And then
Veracruz.
Yeah.
Yes, so.
I love that.
Yes. It's a very tropical, right?
Yeah.
Nice area.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was born and raised here. My mom was coming over here. Nice. And then both my parents are professionals. So my dad's a doctor. My mom's a nutritionist. And then, so I had some high expectations growing up. And
having a father as a doctor and a mom as a nutritionist, that is some pretty big shoes to fill.
Definitely.
Did you feel that pressure growing up?
I did, especially from my mom's side. She definitely is like, we don't expect anything less, know?
Wow. So education was important
in
your household at a young age.
Very important. And my role model is my dad. He definitely is someone that's very caring and nurturing. He does like to listen. And over the years is having me like so many great experiences to get here. Where I'm at professionally, I like to give the example, like the story of my first interactions with the professional world. At a young age, I was using a typewriter, handwriting notes, like for any essays or any papers that needed to be done.
Wait, did you say a typewriter?
I did.
Paul, did you hear that?
I'm looking it up right now. I don't remember what those are.
Are you Googling for those of you listening, a typewriter, which is probably not used no more, right, Michael?
Yeah, no.
A lot of your friends probably aren't using typewriters,
No.
right? But that's awesome that your dad had you and your mom had you with the typewriter. That's awesome.
It was awesome, but my friends were always on their computers, and I'm just like, where's my computer?
It's kind of like it gave you that old school car to drive, right?
Yeah.
And your friends are driving the nice new cars. But maybe he was trying to teach you the basics, appreciating the basics.
100%.
Right?
100%. And then I think he even took it even further because I was driven to get a computer. And so at one time he came home, kept asking, can I get a computer? Can I get a computer? He kind of ran his parenting side with an award system. So if I got good grades, He would like, we'll go to McDonald's. We'll go where you want to go, or
Earn it.
gotta earn it. And so I earned a computer, but he likes to teach. And so he gave me a computer that didn't work.
Paul's cracking up over here. He gave you, so your dad gave you a computer that didn't work.
Yeah.
Now, when you say it didn't turn on or
It
something?
didn't turn on.
Okay.
It was just a monitor with a
So
keyboard.
do you wanted you to learn the keyboards or something?
Not at all. He said, if you can figure it out how to like make this work again, it's yours.
Really?
Yeah. And
He was like Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid movie. Wow.
yeah.
So what did you get out of that?
I look at it. I'm like, hey, he gave me something, a tool to use, and I'm gonna make sure I learn how to use that tool. And so I had a great neighbor that had a book of how to build computers. So I studied how to build a computer, took everything apart, saw what parts wasn't working, got it up and running again, and that was my first computer.
Wow, what a great story. And the reason why we like to tell these stories, folks, is because we have a lot of listeners that are part of our youth chamber, part of our, chamber in general, business owners, entrepreneurs. And it's just everybody that comes on this podcast gives us a different story, how their parents migrated, right, Paul? This is something we hear common. And all these great life lessons. And Paul, by the way, loves these life lessons, right, Paul?
I got to tell you, that one I will never forget. His father's a doctor, so he can obviously afford a computer.
Exactly.
But he gives him a broken computer.
That's right.
And challenges him, fix it, and it's yours. Most kids today have no idea even how to plug it in. They know how to use it,
but that
they
goes
don't.
to show, like, it's like, okay, here's a bike.
Yeah.
But it's missing some parts. You can't write it.
Right.
So you figure out how to, put it together to write it, right?
Yes.
But it also probably taught you the value of appreciating this computer.
100%, yeah.
You probably took care of this computer forever.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yes. I still have it like in the
I was about to say, do you still have it?
Yeah, I definitely did. And so I learned how to build the computer, and then he got thinking, now this is the story transition to professional. When he had us, like I'm the oldest, there's three of us, three brothers. He gave up his becoming or being a doctor, so he switched over to the administration side, managing clinics, hospitals, because he knew doctors definitely needed a lot of attention.
Wow.
And he wanted to be with us as a family man.
He valued the family.
He definitely did.
So he wanted to
and I got to see that as the oldest. I got to see that whole transition.
Wow.
And I'm just like, whoa, okay, interesting. But here comes another opportunity for me to grow. And so to enter the professional world, I would say I started when he took me to a clinic. They were opening up in LA, and it was a brand new clinic. It had not opened up yet.
Medical clinic.
And then he put me in a room of executives, with like CEOs, CFOs, and doctors. And I was about 12 years old. And he brought me into that room. And I just remember being this little kid and surrounded with amazing professionals all around me. And I was a really shy kid. Really, really shy. I would not say anything when I was little.
Really?
Because I was also taught, like, hey, respect your elders. Don't speak when you're spoken to.
Yeah.
And so I learned.
The old school ways.
Yes.
The old school ways of, I know our dads were very shake the hand, look the person in the eye.
Exactly.
So he put you in this room with a bunch of executives and doctors. What was that like, Michael?
It was very intimidating. And I'm just like, why am I in this room? Like, am I in trouble? Like, I'm not like a really just calm kid.
Wow.
And you can see my friends back in the day that said, like, yeah, you're very shy. Like, you just do what you're told. And then, so they put me in a room like that because they had come to me. They're like, can you set up our computer systems? Your dad tells you built your own computer.
What?
And I'm just like, what? Exactly. I was like, what? I was like,
you're like, I'm an IT guy now?
Exactly. I didn't know what that was in that time. I was like, what do you want me to set up your networks, your database, your computers?
You're like, I'm only 12 years old.
Yeah, I'm only 12. And at that point, I still remember your doctors, your CEOs, you guys, in my eyes, know everything.
Yes.
I didn't tell them that, but in my mind, I was like, you guys, in my head, doctors, you know everything.
You're the genius.
You're the genius of our society. I'm like, you guys should know everything.
Wow.
I don't know, you're coming to a 12-year-old kid that taught me a lesson. And I said yes, because they said, can you set it up? And I go, yes. I just remember, like, yes.
12 years old.
Yeah.
That is awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the lesson they learned that they taught me, and we talked about it afterwards, is everyone can lend a helping hand. And that's why I'm all about making a difference wherever I go. I represent those doctors, those executives, those students.
Wait, so you didn't get paid for this?
No, definitely not.
Did you hear this, Paul?
I need some help on my radio station here.
Paul's like, Michael, we want to hire you
Yeah.
here at the radio station.
I'll pay you double what your dad paid you.
Paul's willing to pay him double. Wow, but that's awesome of your dad to put you in these situations of what we call critical thinking.
Oh, it
right?
definitely was.
I was just obviously, yesterday at a location where it's a lot about critical thinking for kids and how that's so important today.
100%.
We're giving a lot of critical thinking tools for kids because that's what life is about. As you get older, these things that your dad put in front of you, I'm assuming are helping you today.
Yep. To be a lifelong learner, to continue to learn, that not everyone has all the answers in the world, no matter their title, their background, their life experience, everyone is still learning, and to continue to do that and not stop and think, yeah, I know everything, or he knows everything, or they know everything. It's like, let's all learn together, because if you have that will to say, hey, I want to help, you're going to go far, and you're going to help more.
But I think it says a lot about your parents, your father, the sink or swim, right?
Yeah.
Like that old saying, I'm going to throw you in the pool and you're going to learn how to swim, right?
My mom did that too. I did water polo, so that's exactly what she
right?
did. Yeah.
Right? So you know that, right? So a lot of it later in life, like I know as an entrepreneur, it's sink or swim.
Yep.
You want to go open your own business, and being part of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we work with a lot of small businesses or people starting their businesses or entrepreneurs, and a lot of it is sink or swim, right? How are you going to survive? So at a young age, your father was putting you in situations where, like, hey, you're either going to sink or swim.
Yeah.
The computer, you're either going to fix it or it's not going to work, and you're not going to have a computer, right? But you have a typewriter.
Yeah.
Right? And your friends have brand new computers probably.
Yes, they
So
did.
he wasn't giving it to you, you were earning it.
Yes.
So that is a great lesson at a young age. Again, he was Mr. Miyagi. He was the Latino Hispanic Mr. Miyagi, right?
I love that.
We got to do a story on your dad, right? So you end up going to high school and you end up going to UCI.
Yes.
From my understanding, right?
Yes, yes.
And what was that like coming out of high school, going into UCI?
Talking about earning things in life, over the years, like I said, I learned how things can be thrown at you in different ways, and then you kind of adapt to it. So to go from high school to UC Irvine was a story in itself, that I went to a community college first, because in my senior year, my parents bought a house in the high desert. So we moved from like LA County to the high desert because he wanted to give us a better house.
Yes.
And then we moved over there my senior year. Now, the new high school I went to, let's just say
It was a tough time?
it was not a tough time. They're an admin school, like their administration was still new,
Okay.
and so like for all our class, and I'm pretty sure there's newspapers on this, like they didn't submit like everything that was needed. I remember getting like accepted, I think, to Harvard, to UCLA. I tried to do my best in like my 4 years in high school.
That's awesome.
So in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna go 4 years right away. When I switched to that new high school, that transition, they said, oops, we're sorry, we didn't submit transcripts. Oops, we didn't send that out.
They just didn't have, I guess,
Yeah.
all their ducks in the row.
Yeah.
Let's just be nice about it.
Exactly.
So it was a tough transition.
Yeah, and so I figured I need to do something about this. I went to community college, saved money, and then I was thinking, which...
Well, you also saved your parents probably a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with going to community college.
No, and
right?
I loved it because I got to fell in love more with education. I got to see all walks of life there and see different people's passion. I'm like, I definitely want to continue my education.
That's awesome.
And so...
Where did you go to community college?
In the high desert, Victor Valley College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And from Victor Valley College, you ended up at UCI.
Yeah, so between deciding which schools to transfer to, the thing that's very important to me is family. And so my middle brother, since in my family I'm like the guinea pig,
Yeah.
so they learn like what to do's and don'ts.
Yes.
So my middle brother, he's only about like 2 years apart from me, a year and a half, and then he got accepted to UCI as an aerospace engineer.
Wow.
But as he was going there, I was going through community college, and he kept kind of echoing to to us, the family, like he feels lonely. He's isolated, and so to me, what I hear as a big brother is, I want to be there for you.
Yes.
So I'm going to transfer to the school that you're at, meeting him where he's at, and I had already kind of started networking in this area a lot, and so that's kind of transitioning me to UC Irvine, but also to the Chamber of Commerce, because I was already at that point networking a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
And how did you end up at the youth chamber? Tell us a little bit about that, because I know it's only a 30-minute show, and Paul will eventually give me the stinky eye of, you got 2 minutes. Hurry up, John. But let's get into how you ended up at the chamber. You mentioned earlier to me when we were here that you were going to like networking events or something, right?
Yeah.
And you ended up going to a chamber networking event?
Yeah. And I think what sealed the deal was going to UCI, there was a good relationship there, and they kind of welcomed that. And I saw the avenue of the youth chamber. I'm like, I want to be involved, but I also don't want to be involved just in the extent of like the whole thing yet. I'm aware of like there's the Chamber of Commerce and the youth chamber. I feel like youth chamber is tailored experience. And so I'm like, I need that. I want that, to be surrounded with other amazing leaders that wanted to get educated and to be connected to different mentors. And I wanted to see how this program was run under the Chamber of Commerce.
For those of you listening to us for the first time here at the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Community Podcast Show, our youth chamber is a really like just young leaders in our community, which do a lot of great things, and they get to meet our members and speakers, and they get to experience. So can you share with everybody listening, what was it like for you as a young leader in college? What was it like to have that organization around you, the youth chamber?
Support, and family. Family is very important to me. And so I like to represent 3 things in life: family, community, and the agencies I work for. So the community was to get involved is being part of that youth chamber, because I feel like it kind of matched where I was at in life, and also just being surrounded with an amazing support system of mentors.
Like a business family.
Yeah, I like that.
I like
Business
telling
family.
people, when people say, what is it like to join the chamber? I said, honestly, we're like a business family.
Yes.
I mean, we have our families at home.
Sure.
But here, there's another family of businesses. And just like any family, we're going to have disagreements.
Sure.
We're not going to be on the same page. Things aren't going to be perfect, just like your family at home, right?
Yeah.
But that's part of critical thinking. That's part of trials and learning and growing. What would you say was probably the biggest just attribute that you got out of the youth chamber?
The biggest attributes of people.
The people?
The people, building those long lifetime relationships with them, because businesses are run by people. And that's something that people sometimes forget about.
Yes.
They're like, oh, this business is doing something wrong. Like, well, there's a lot of people that go behind that business, and they're working their hardest. And so building those relationships with those people made a big difference in my life, to see how different things work.
Which is one of the reasons why you are winning at the Estrella Awards, the Youth Chamber Alumni Award, because you were such a huge component of our youth chamber. But what we loved about it is that you stayed involved. You stayed with us. You helped out. You volunteer. You're always, what we call Johnny on the spot, right? I always tell Ruben I want to start a show called Johnny on the Spot.
I would love that.
Because sometimes as volunteers, that's what it's about, right? Somebody says, hey, can you do this? Sure, Johnny on the spot. Let's do it.
Yep.
But not everybody wants to do that.
No, I learned that.
I'm busy. I got something to do. They
Yeah.
make an excuse. And you've always been that young gentleman who's just like, let's do it. I want to do it. How can I help? Right?
Yep.
And so with that said, I want to go into a little bit into some of these things that are very important today in your life, which is, of course, you're newly married, right?
Yep.
How long ago was that? A couple of years ago?
2021 October.
Nice. So shout out to the wife.
Shout out, my amor.
He said, shout out, mi amor. Wow. Happy wife, happy life. Don't forget my quote.
100%.
Now, we know you don't have any kids, right? But you have pets.
Yes, which are considered kids to us.
Exactly.
A boy and a girl. They're 2 rescue kitties.
Kitties.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And of course, now you're one of our ambassadors here at the chamber.
Yep.
And so what's that been like?
Full circle. Full circle. It means a lot to me to be ambassador of an agency that I strongly believe in, and that I felt like I've, built that relationship with. And so it's just, I feel welcome here. I feel very welcome, and continue. I believe, like my parents, the reward system. I feel like every time I've helped, including with you, you're like, hey, thank you. And sometimes we forget about saying thank you.
Yes.
And I just feel that welcomeness, thankfulness, and I'm like, cool, I can be myself around you all and help when needed to be. And I can help represent every youth that went through this chamber, because it makes a big difference.
A lot of people will ask us, what is an ambassador, right, of the chamber? And ambassadors are volunteers.
Yep.
You're not getting paid to help out. And
Correct.
so to all of our ambassadors listening, thank you.
Yes, thank
If you've
you.
been an ambassador for us in the past, let's give them a shout out, right? If you're an ambassador today, thank you so much, because I was an ambassador once.
Mm-hmm.
And I went from being an ambassador to being eventually a board member. And, here I am now interviewing you on our
Yeah.
podcast show. So it just goes to show there's different layers
Mm-hmm.
to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, right? And so we know that you currently are part of the Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization, which is an amazing organization,
is.
right? Share with us a little bit about that role you have there, your job, if you don't mind.
Happy to. It's an amazing agency. It's providing mentorship, one-on-one, for youth from 6 years old up to 24 years old, and we're focusing on making sure we provide all assets from the community-based, site-based, meaning like the schools, and then also workplace mentoring. Like if our agencies, individuals that want to come, mentor a college student or high school student, we make that possible. And so what I do there, I'm like the project manager of grants. So my title is grants administrator. They say I'm the quarterback of the grants and making sure our program runs.
So you help find money for them,
not necessarily,
or apply for grants, or organize the
I'm
grants?
part of that team. Yes.
Okay.
That team right there. But once we get that grant, they say, okay, make sure we hit those deliverables. Make sure
Okay.
we're serving 10 kids in this specific area.
Fulfilling the grant that was given to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important, because
Very important.
you don't want to eventually either lose the grant or not get the grant again because you didn't meet the needs that the grant was given to you. For those of
Exactly.
you listening, what is a grant? It's basically funds given to a nonprofit
Yep.
to be able to roll out, right?
Yep.
These programs.
Yep. And it can be from a government. It can be a foundation. It can be
A donor,
a
right?
donor. Yeah.
There's some
a
people
corporation, yeah.
that'll donate like their will
Yep.
to a great organization like
Yep.
Big Brothers Big Sisters.
And they can open it to, like, you can do whatever you need to do this, like overhead, salaries, all that. Or there's sometimes, like I said, very specific deliverables they were required to do.
For anybody listening out there, keep in mind, if you're putting together your power attorney of healthcare or your living will, you can actually add a great organization like Big Brothers and Big Sisters, that a percentage goes when you do pass away to an organization like that, or any other organization that you wish.
Yep.
Because remember, you're leaving a legacy behind, right? To go to, what a great organization it is to be
Yep.
able to mentor, help young kids, which a lot of them may not have either family or, right? That's kind of what
Yes.
the whole program is about.
100%. And that's just, I like to work with the agencies that I like to represent to. I'm all about making a difference. Like my favorite quote is, keep moving forward and making a difference. And you can even look at my high school yearbook. It says, keep moving forward. And now post-college, 10 years later, I'm like, make a difference. You have to make a difference. It makes the biggest impact in our world by just making sure you're there for someone or there for the
community.
The community.
That's awesome, Michael. So the other thing I know is that you love Disney. From what I've seen or post, and
I do.
right, you've loved. Share with us, where did that love come from?
The lava came. I'm gonna be honest. The Estrella Awards.
Really?
The Estrella Awards was a great talking point. I met my wife in college. We were both part of the chamber.
The youth chamber.
The youth chamber.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so we would both go to the Estrella Awards, and it was like everyone's dream, I guess, for us. Like we just like, wow. Look
When
at
the doors
this.
open,
The
right?
doors open.
When the doors open at the gala, our gala, right? I
Yeah.
like to say our gala.
Yeah.
The black tie. It's surreal, right?
Yeah, and being a youth at that time, I was just like, wow, there's like amazing leaders here that care about the youth, and this is the community. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know that, I think it's full circle that we talked about here. You love Disney. Disney's important to you. You've been going to the Estrella Awards for years.
yeah, like 10 years.
And here you are. You're going to be on stage receiving an award April 22nd.
Yep,
What a full circle at the Disneyland Hotel, a place you love.
I do.
Share with us. How does that feel? What does that feel like for you, man?
I love it so much. Just for the audience to know, we had our wedding and we got married, and then our reception was at the Disney Hotel. Because of the Estrella, we inspired them. Like my wife's like, "Ooh, I want to do like a fairy tale." Ooh, don't say less. Let's see how we make it happen.
Wow. So Disney's like really the center of your whole life. Your marriage,
Yeah.
the youth chamber, obviously, right? Now you're receiving an award on
Yeah.
stage. Are you nervous? Are you excited?
I'm more excited.
Yes.
I still processing everything. Just what kind of gets me, to be on the stage is like I represent every youth that came through this.
Yes.
And I still serve as a volunteer mentor, even at my alumni school, UC Irvine, Zot, where I mentor LBSA, Latino Business Student Association, HU, some organizations too, but those individuals that come and ask for my help, I make sure to connect them when they need to. I help represent them in different cases. Like here, I'm super happy to be here because every student that believes in me, I'm trying to make sure that I can reach their expectation.
That's awesome. Again, folks, Estrella Awards is April 22nd. It's going to be at our Disneyland Hotel resort that we do an event there. We are sold out. We'll be lucky if there's 1 or 2 tickets left that somebody cancels last minute. It's a beautiful venue. It's a beautiful event. And of course, Michael Lara, who we have here today as a guest, will be winning the Youth Chamber Alumni Award. He's been with our youth chamber and our chamber in general for 10 years.
Yep.
I mean, you must have been like 10 years old because you look so young. Me and Paul were like, Michael looks so young, man. So, and again, thank you for all you're doing in the community, for all the volunteering you have done. Now, as a current ambassador of ours, as a grant administrator at the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization, right? Thank you for all you're doing. Share with us before you go, who is your favorite WWE superstar? Because I know you're a huge WWE fan, right?
Yeah. My favorite superstar is Rey Mysterio. He just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. He represents Latino, an image I saw myself in TV. I'm like, wow, he's a Latino wrestling and the global standards were. And I just got to go to WrestleMania with my wife and my brothers. And we're just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe I got to see him. And even with like that, WWE, I know we have Chavo, so shout out to Chavo.
It's interesting. I was going to bring that up at the Hispanic 100 Foundation Golf Tournament, which you've been involved with. I remember you telling me, right? It was so cool to meet Chavo Guerrero, right? Yeah,
and he's so personable, and I appreciate that a lot as a fan, but also like an individual. I'm just like, hey, I remember one thing that stick to me to this day. I'm like, how do you stay so fit every single day?
That guy's in shape.
Yeah. And I'm just like, he's like, never skip gym day. Like he does it every single day, which I apply to everything I do. I make sure I show up. I make sure I keep my hardest every day and do one more thing I can do every day. So if you come here, I'm like, you said, can I do this? Like, let's make it happen. We'll schedule around. How do we do this? Because people like that inspire me. And my mentors, like, shout out to all my mentors that just, you know who you are. Just thank you for being part of my life, including you, John, and Ruben, and Mario. And
thank you.
There's like a whole list. My dad, there's a whole list.
I just want to say we're very proud of you, Michael. Yes, there's people around you that are mentors, and shout out to all of them. But you have taken the initiative, and you're always willing to help and volunteer. So kudos to you, and enjoy the Estrella Awards. It'll go by so fast. Take lots of pictures, right?
A lot of selfies.
Exactly,
I'm the selfie
guy. Folks, Michael Lara, thank you so much for being here. We must go because Paul's giving me the eye already. But we'll see you guys at the Estrella Awards. And again, don't forget to follow us at OCHCC, which is our Instagram, and our Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. Leave a comment wherever you can, and continue to follow us and reach out to us. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and we'll definitely get back to you. Michael, thank you for being with us here today, brother.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
I love you all. Thank you so much for having me again.
Paul, take it away.
Well, there you have it. In a world where we think the youth don't do enough, here's a guy that can't stop doing. Always moving forward, always making a difference. Those are the stories that we share with you each and every week here on Our Community. Brought to you by the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studio here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.